Let's talk about what we're actually gonna talk.
Get into the meat.
Let's get into.
Oh,
I have a Star Wars shirt on. Don't worry. Still keeping it PG.
Let's get into me.
Let's get into me.
the sound bites are great.
The Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian.
I want to say first that like I'm actually really happy that they're releasing these one at a time, because if they had put out like the entire series,
you
and it was
just
like,
wouldn't go to sleep.
I wouldn't go to sleep. I wouldn't go to work.
It's such a weird. I don't know. I can't decide if I like it or hate it because like when you think of binge watching shows, I feel like the first show that ever was like I had to binge watch it all the way through because it was such a hook was Stranger Things.
Yes.
Like that was a show that I watched and I sat down and I was like, I can't stop. But at the same time, it was like I only enjoyed that for a day.
Right.
Like it wasn't like I didn't pace myself.
That's exactly why they're doing it, because people are signing up for the trial, and they don't want you to just binge the series that you want.
That's a great point,
And
actually.
then cancel your membership.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is definitely what I did for the final season of Game of
HBO
Thrones.
Go. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think all the originals are doing that, because I know there's a Jeff Goldblum show which I really want to watch and looks hysterical because Jeff just anything. I'm going to talk about lint today, and yes, I have some lint right here. I don't know what that impression was, but what do we think of Star Wars? I will probably rant the most about it. So why don't you
About Star Wars as a whole or Star Wars as
We'll be here a long time. We should talk about Star Wars as a whole.
Let me open up with like my history and whatnot. I liked Star Wars. I'm not like the hugest fan of Star Wars. I think I'm pretty level-headed in my review of this.
Okay.
I thought it was a pretty decent like spaghetti western in the science fantasy setting that is Star Wars. But it was a little cliche at times, most of the time actually.
Yeah.
But I think the first episode, I think it was just world building.
Yeah.
We just wanted to figure out what is his motivation, what does he do for a job,
Yeah, I think
what are
that's
the places that he travels to.
That might have been why it was so cliche, because it was like
they needed to establish like this is what a Mandalorian is, this is what a bounty hunter is, in case you haven't watched the original series or know who Boba or Jango Fett are.
Brianna was like, wait, so this isn't Boba Fett?
Yeah, it was like a good 30 minutes in.
I mean, and that's the thing that they had to clarify, because like my mother said the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
For the casual fan who's not going to know it,
Exactly.
it's going to be like, I think I remember him. It is, or if you knew who Boba Fett was, it's like
because the helmet was so iconic.
Right. Yeah, it's got the T.
So, jumping, I guess we're going to go in chronological order of Star Wars interests, I guess. So,
Sure.
So like, Jesse's a casual, like, Star Wars fan, so to assume.
I'm going to admit, I didn't even watch the newest movies.
Oh, filthy casual.
So,
That's okay. Like, there's an audience for everybody, and hopefully people can relate to everyone on the panel right now. So
I'm casual number 2. I would be even more casual than Jesse if I never met Andrew, because he is a huge Star Wars fan. When coming into the relationship, seen 0 Star Wars.
That was almost a deal breaker for me,
0,
honestly.
absolute 0. So transfer over to Mandalorian. I agree with Aaron that there should have been more of a setup of like for the casuals to understand what's going on. So there wasn't a lot of like that build up. It was a lot of like just watching it for what it is and like experiencing it, which is nice for the like fans that are a little bit more top tier than me.
Do you think there should have been a crawl at the beginning?
A crawl?
Like the
Oh, absolutely not.
words?
No, I like that the crawl wasn't there.
Okay, me too. Okay, I'm glad that you said that. Because
Yes.
they're keeping the crawl for the saga films.
Definitely consensus that should only stay for the films. I do not want that on all of the like spin-offs.
But like they didn't do it. Oh yeah, for the saga films, you mean?
Yeah.
Because they didn't do it for Rogue One or Solo. And I'm glad that they kept it as like this is just its own little thing. You don't have to, worry about it. But I do see like going in, like who is this? Like because they only mention like the time period briefly, and it's like, oh, the Empire's gone, and it's like, oh, okay, now I know that it's after the Empire has fallen. So I did like the remnants of the stormtroopers or whatever. Like they're basically like mercenaries, and they're all like banged up and like mangled, and they're not like they don't have any sense of like order anymore. They're just like guns for hire, which I thought was a cool little idea. And I loved his opening line, which is so cheesy and so cliche, but he just says to the guy, "I can bring you in cold, or I can bring you in warm." I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Very spaghetti western.
Oh, totally. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, and I like that the Disney Plus series are like going to open the world for like different genres of film, I guess, for within the Star Wars universe, because this is like underbelly, like criminal, almost like I can imagine this getting more towards like a Sopranos kind of feel, like organized crime and the underbelly and stuff that you wouldn't really focus on in the main saga films because they all have the kind of same.
It's kind of like how they wanted Rogue One to be like a war story, like Band of Brothers, but Star Wars.
Yeah, it's like a war story, kind of spy thriller almost. Like I love that.
The thing is that I keep hearing that the newer Star Wars movies are too safe. Like, I keep hearing people say, like, well, it was just like a rehash of what they did before.
7 especially.
Yeah.
Like, Force Awakens, great movie, but it was just 4 again.
Okay.
Bigger, badder Death Star.
Well, the issue is they can't please everyone, because The Last Jedi was the opposite, where they were like, let's just try whatever the hell, and you had all the hardcore fans going, what is happening?
I know.
You're not going to make everyone happy.
No.
And if you don't try anything different, then I lose interest in that you're going to lose.
I think what they're doing with Disney Plus and these spin-off shows is that they are going to be able to make everyone happy because there will be something for everyone.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
If they do something really interesting with this series, I might be in.
Mm-hmm.
If they keep on with the cliches, I'm going to be like, nah.
Yeah,
not for me.
I could already tell just by the tone that was set up in this one that this is going to be very different, and I'm all for it. like you can stick to the stuff that works, the formulaic stuff, stick that in all the saga movies, and that's fine. That's what Star Wars has been for 40 years. So, but I'm real happy that they're like kind of starting to experiment a little bit.
I guess moving on to me then. So I grew up on Star Wars. Like, these are the kind of movies that I literally watched like every day. Now I did deep dive a little into the lore growing up. Like, I played like Knights of the Old Republic and that kind of stuff. But I wouldn't say that I was like. I'm definitely still not on like the full on like obsessed. I love these movies. I've seen every single one opening night that's been out now. The thing I feel about The Mandalorian and just in general where it's going here is that they are trying to make it spaghetti western feeling, because Star Wars is such an iconic series, and like as you're saying, like they made 7 to be 4, and if they don't have those campy like this is a spaghetti western line, this is a spaghetti western shot, it's going to be too hard for them to separate it genre-wise.
Oh, absolutely.
They're leaning into the campiness because they're like, or like not even just campiness, but like into that genre harder than they probably need to, because they don't want the viewer to get confused.
Yeah, and we've only seen the first episode, so they might dial it back a little bit. It might just be to set the tone for the rest of the show.
Yeah, exactly.
And it might, unravel a little bit as the show goes on.
You're just hoping that it just evolves. Yeah. I don't want it to just remain that.
I'm sure it will. Like, even just the character of the Mandalorian, like he the way that he starts this episode and ends this episode, I feel like are completely different.
He had way more talking lines than I expected.
I know, but they didn't want him to be another Boba Fett.
Yeah.
And I like how they start off just like, okay, so is he just another like silent, like cool brooding guy? But then by the end, like he's like yelling at the guy who's teaching him how to ride the...
Can we talk about the IG droid?
Yes!
Yeah. Well, let's go for full spoiler warning, because... just in case we slip.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so
some people may not have seen it yet.
That's true. Yeah. That was like our kind of thoughts on it overall, and then if you don't want any spoilers, then skip ahead a little bit. We're gonna get into spoiler territory now. IG, I don't know if it's 88, probably not 88, but an IG unit was in it, voiced by Taika Waititi, and he stole the show.
Now, I have mixed feelings on him. Because I really like him. I do. Mm-hmm. And I think he's cool. He's, like, really neat and animated.
Yeah.
He's just, like...
When did he move?
Even though he's dry and, like, computerized.
Yeah. There was a lot of personality shoved into something that had no personality.
Which is great.
But that's the thing, though, is I feel like he's a rehash of the droid from Rogue One, or just another comic relief robot.
Yeah, it definitely there was shades of the K2SO, which I thought, but, like... even in that, like, he felt like Alan Tudyk in the suit in that. In this one, like, he literally is just, oh, no, we lost some lights. K2SO feels like Alan Tudyk in the suit. Like, he moves like a person, but IG-88 was just like, very, like, he just looked like an actual machine would do, and he didn't have to worry all that much about getting shot, so he's just walking around, like, like, twisting around, and, like, his little eyes, like, there's one part where he's looking away, and the Mandalorian, it says something to him, and he just, like, twists the little eyes around and just, like, looks down at him, and he's like, yes. I lost it at that. It was very...
Now, the whole... the joke of, like, the self-destruct over and over.
Oh, it was beautiful. Now, are we going to talk about the actual spoiler?
The very end?
Should we?
That's the question.
Was there anything else we wanted to cover before we covered the very end scene?
I I really liked the economy system that they're setting up.
I was just gonna say like the and he's trying to get that, which I didn't even know about the armor, the Beskar.
Yeah. I think that's close enough pronunciation.
Something like that.
Basically, it's some metal that Mandalorians originally used to create their armor, and they used it as like currency and stuff.
Yeah, and I think in Knights of the Old Republic they have the whole like chrome looking armor. Yeah, so it's like I love the tiebacks to that. But yeah, he gets that one little ingot, I guess, of that metal, and the blacksmith Mandalorian like makes a little pauldron out of it. So he's just got this one like shiny piece, and it's like he's putting a puzzle together. So hopefully by the end he gets to like make the full chrome suit of armor. Yeah, and I liked you mentioned the currency system, but I liked the whole Mandalorian like camp that he was in. They all got the masks on, and he walks by somebody that may or may not have been Boba Fett.
They definitely had Boba Fett's color scheme.
Yeah, and I was like, whoa, no.
Yeah.
But I was hoping, like, we can talk about what it actually was, but I was hoping that the bounty was going to be Boba Fett, and like he'd have to, because
spoilers, it's not.
As you know, spoilers, it's not, and we'll tell you what it is. But as you might know, Boba Fett is actually not a Mandalorian, as was revealed in episode 2. Yeah. He's a clone.
Or
he's not a clone, but
movie.
It's okay.
Well, they're all on Disney Plus, so we can have a whole marathon before 9 comes out. She's like, no, anything with that.
So, yeah, the way that they're establishing it, it almost seems like I can't decide if Mandalorian culture is more of like a thing you're adopted into or you're born of, because the way that they sort of like the flashbacks made it seem, and they mentioned like the word foundling, made me think like, is it like a custom that you're now raised into, as opposed to like, oh, this is a race of people?
Yeah.
Because that's sort of what it feels like to me.
That was essentially what the Sith are too.
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting. Like, it's almost like, let's set up this non-Force related thing that gets passed down generation to generation that isn't necessarily race related.
Yeah.
Or like species related.
I liked the trophy of the, what is it, the Megasaurus or whatever?
Oh, the Mythosaur?
Mythosaur, yeah. That was awesome.
But the actual spoiler.
But that actual bounty
may or may not have been Yoda?
No, it was just
a baby of Yoda's species.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he says, the guy, Werner Herzog's character, who says, all we have to go off of is that it's a, 50-year-old male or something. Mm-hmm. And he's like,
50-year-old, and this is its location.
That's all he had. And then, we were making every joke known to man. Like, when he walks up to the little pod, it's like, oh, it's going to be Goku. Oh, it's Neon Genesis. But you see the little green ears poking out of the top, and it's like, it's a little baby Yoda. Whatever Yoda's race is.
Any hardcore Star Wars fan will tell you that, like, diving into Yoda species is, like, a huge thing that they've kind of just left up in the air.
Yeah. They've never said what it is, the name of it by name.
Yeah, it's just always literally referred to as Yoda species. Like, we don't know anything about them other than that they can live very long lives, and they're probably very Force sensitive.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because he's 50 years old, so he's still basically a baby. Because Yoda was 800 when Luke meets him on Dagobah. And he dies when he's like... No, he dies when he's 800, but I think... What, are you drawing a question mark?
Yeah, that's a question mark in there.
Yeah, he was roughly 800 or 900. So 50 ain't nothing. So I hope it's not the cliche, like, I've got to raise this, I got a soft spot for a little kid, and then... I don't know, maybe he'll teach a little baby Yoda to...
Bounty Hunter Yoda. Dreams.
But guess what? We will find out on Friday.
Yeah.
Because it comes out in a couple days.
It's a weird release schedule. I don't know why it's not every week.
Maybe it's just because Disney Plus was released midweek, and now...
Blessings upon
Thanks.
Blessings.
Thank you.
And then it might be reoccurring every Friday? Or is it going to be Friday and some Tuesdays?
Mostly Tuesdays, some random Fridays.
Okay.
So
probably when it's more story dependent, they'll be like, boom, you kind of can binge.
Yeah.
Pseudo binge.
Like maybe 2 or 3 at a time. I don't know.
It's cool because they can experiment with that, though. Like, it's kind of a shame that more, like Hulu and Netflix haven't experimented with more irregular release schedules, like drifting away from the norm of just, oh, here's the entire season, or like here's an episode every week with a mid-season break and then rest of the season. Like, what if you had an episode every Monday, Friday? Or like, what if you had, like Disney does it with their cartoons line, like what if you had a bomb of episodes, like,
yeah,
like here's 5 episodes, here's 5 episodes, here's 5 episodes.
Steven bombs.
Like, yeah, exactly.
But then they'll be quiet for like 3 months.
Yeah, it's like, so it's like maybe we'll find out that you enjoy getting the content like bi-weekly as opposed to once a week or once a month.
Yeah, that goes back into like kind of old school, like when we actually used to watch cable and we'd have to wait weekly.
Oh, it's Tuesday, it's Star Wars Day.
So like I would prefer that schedule, like weekly or bi-weekly, to kind of like get back into that feel.
Also, because so many we're just all bogged down now. Like everyone's so bogged down.
I think it's a huge breath of fresh air to be like, all right, you get one a week. That's all I have to worry about. I don't have to worry about turning off Facebook for a week to avoid spoilers and stuff. Because like I saw memes for this before.
I don't know the exact numbers, but I want to say that this, even though we won't get into the topic of it, the Game of Thrones like series finale was probably maybe more watched than all of Stranger Things.
Wow.
I want to say that's off the top of my head. I could be wrong. I could be very wrong. But I'm
sure no one on the internet will want to correct you.
Yeah, no one on the internet wants to correct anyone. But just as a viewer, I would have to think that like, while Stranger Things was a phenomenon, Game of Thrones was even bigger because it was able to build up. Where like Stranger Things just kind of dropped and then spread via word of mouth.
It was also Game of Thrones was 10 years long and
exactly. It has that build up.
Yeah. I'm real excited for more. I'm in. I'm sold. I mean, I'm a Star Wars shill, so anything that Star Wars is gonna get me to watch it.